1, 2, 3. Who's your commentator? Who do I throw to? Welcome back to Lang Park, to the end of 5 years of State of Origin games. And as you can see, the odds really in favour of Queensland. Welcome back to Lang Park, and as you can see, after 5 years of State of Origin fixtures, the odds well and truly in favour of the home team up here, the Banana Benders. And here is the Queensland side. Some new faces tonight. Former Manly speedster Johnny Rebo on one wing, with Brett French, number 4, replacing the injured Gene Miles in the centre. At 5'8", Wally Lewis will be up against Brett Kenny, the man who took that spot off him in the all-conquering Australian Kangaroo team in 1982. Number 7, the halfback, Ross Hendrick, replacing the injured international Mark Murray. Bobby Lindner is the lock. Chris Phelan, who plays for Parramatta, is in the second row. And Greg Canescu, despite a savage dose of food poisoning last night, takes the field tonight as hooker. New South Wales, number 1, the fullback, Gary Jack. Number 2, slippery Stevie Morris on the wing. In the centres, a real new pairing, Mortimer and Brian Johnson, with the trusty goal kicker, Ross Conlon, on the flank. Tonight, Kenny returns to 5'8" to partner Steve Mortimer. And your commentator, Ian Maurice.
Thanks, Mike. The last representative game for the year underway. Kerry Bostad, first touch of the football, caught just 12 metres out from his own line. Certainly a new look New South Wales side, and some new old faces in the Queensland lineup as well. Look at that defence swarming in on Dave Brown, just on the Queensland quarter line. Here's Lewis. Jack was covering the other touch line. He's had a lot of ground to make up, and he's made a mess of it too, finally getting to it. Running across field, out of Lindner's tackle. Finally pulled down just outside his own quarter line by Ross Hendrick. Well, this referee is Kevin Roberts from Sydney. New South Wales front row forward. Pat Jarvis taking it up from Mortimer. That kick is a good one. Finding touch just inside the Queensland territory. So the first scrum of the game to go down. Jack Gibson.
Well, they usually start the first scrum with a penalty. I don't know if that's going to happen, but Brown was down there for some time, the front row for Queensland.
Well, the first scrum's gone to the Maroons, and here's Lewis getting it to Scott, who's lost it. Ball is loose, picked up by Ross Conlon. 35 metres out from the Queensland line. Cleal. Plenty of firsts in both sides. This is Peter Wynn, first time he's played lock for New South Wales. He's certainly played in the second row before, and he's only 10 metres out from the Queensland line. Royce Simmons now. Mortimer. Kenny. Pass out there for Chris Mortimer. First time in the New South Wales team for Chris Mortimer. His brother Steve. Kick in the air. Tearing through after it, but it's too big. That was a pretty rugged attempt from Chris Walsh, the second row forward for New South Wales, charging through on Colin Scott. The ball I called too big. It was only just too big. In fact, Scott got a hand to it before it went over the dead ball line. Consequently, it's a goal line dropout. Meninga taking it. Down to Gary Jack. Made 15 metres. Put down by Brown and Chris Phelan. Roach. Just outside the Queensland quarter. Royce Simmons dummy half to Steve Mortimer. Cleal. Chris Mortimer to Conlon. First penalty of the game that's against the Queensland backs. Up inside the 5 metres. Crowd not happy with that decision. I don't think Arthur's all that tickled about it either. And the penalty awarded right in front. This is a gift, 2 points, Jack.
Well, he hasn't kicked it yet, but he's a pretty smart kicker. He's certainly odds on to get 2 points out of him. He's certainly going to put it dead, and they'll still retain possession if he misses.
Jack, with so many newcomers in the New South Wales side, do you think there'll be more enthusiasm than we've seen in previous State of Origin games?
Well, I think the enthusiasm was always there, but the execution was lacking a little. But as we know, Queensland, there's plenty there, and they're rightfully favourites.
Okay, here's Conlon. From right in front. No mistaking for Ross Conlon. New South Wales got an early lead, 2 points to 0. And the Queensland crowd quite subdued, as they always are when New South Wales score. Queensland, of course, shooting for a 3-0 win in this series. Would be the first time in 60 years. Now here's Gary Jack again from his own goal line. It's caught short of the quarter line, caught by Ross Henrik. Jarvis. Peter Winner's dummy half. Steve Mortimer switching play with a kick to his brother. It's been charged down. They're pouring through after it. Queensland. Play on, said the referee. It was a charge down. That's fair enough. It's Ross Henrik who's playing it. 10 metres up from the New South Wales line. Across to Konescu. Now to Lewis. A long ball out there for Lindner. He's lost it. Picked up by Brett Kenny.
Well, a little lucky there. New South Wales back line was all offside, and they come up with a lost ball.
New South Wales in possession now. 8 metres out from the 22. Roach barging forward, slips a good pass away too, so they're keeping it alive, New South Wales. Now kicking. Johnny Rebo cleans it up for Queensland, and that brings a roar from the crowd as the Express, former Manly player, back in possession. Tackled by Johnston. This is Colin Scott, the fullback, just into New South Wales territory. Rebo dummy half. Like he wrapped up though. This defence from New South Wales. Jack Gibson very keen tonight.
Well, they got him on a corner. They shouldn't let him out of the sideline. And they've got a couple of plays left to do something. But no.
Penalty has gone to Queensland. And this crowd reacts to everything that Kevin Roberts is doing here tonight, as they always do. And a big crowd considering the conditions here in Brisbane today. The rain been falling fairly steadily. Meninga kicks for touch. Finds the line about 7 metres short of the 22. Konescu gets it on to Dave Brown. Oh, run straight to Walsh, but they've slipped it back, and Queensland's still in possession. That's Lindner. Konescu dummy half. To Henrik. Run around, puts the ball down. Henrik falls on it though, and it went back before he says play on. Now Meninga dummy half. Runs from there. That's the 22 line. You can see slipped a nice short ball away for Fullerton Smith. They're just inside the 22 now, Queensland. Konescu on to Henrik. This Lewis. Oh, beautiful ball from Lewis by G. That was a good pass. Gone on to Lindner. This is a ball, and it put it down. Ball loose. Well, this is a fellow that Arthur Beats and Jack Gibson has put big raps on this Bob Lindner.
No, he came on it. He's been a replacement a couple of times in previous games. He's certainly a good player.
New South Wales recommence from the 22 with Roach. Wynn. Short ball out for Jarvis, flicks it back, keeping it alive. This is Walsh, the St George player. His first match for New South Wales. Pretty tough customer. Play midway between the quarter and a half New South Wales end of Lang Park. Simmons. Oh, beautiful bust from Wynn. Oh, the big fella striding out, and that's good territory too. He's picked up about 20 metres. Mortimer. Darting, weaving Mortimer, trying to link up, does so with Johnston. Wrapped up pretty quickly, loses the ball. Fallen on though by New South Wales. Kevin Roberts says play on. This is Johnston. Penalty to New South Wales. Queensland inside the 5. And the crowd disagreeing with this one.
Well, I got to disagree too. He's taken that back about a little 2 metres further than 5.
Ross Conlon has been deadly accurate this year, and this one is not a difficult attempt. It's on the 22, but it's dead set in front. Very little breeze to worry about. Really only, oh, there's the Queensland chant going up that we've got so accustomed to over the last 4 or 5 years. Won't rattle Conlon. Ice cool, this fella. Sets himself down. Ball in the air, looks good. Flags are up. And at Lang Park, the Blues have gone to a 4-point lead. New South Wales 4, Queensland 0.
New South Wales 4, Queensland 0. That lead courtesy of 2 penalties to Ross Conlon. Now the Maroons in possession. This is Brett French. Henrik kicking. Gary Jack back on his own quarter line. Well, the game has certainly been fast and furious in the opening 10 minutes. Good tackle from Canescu and Mal Meninga. Noel Clear with the ball. There from the New South Wales side, but Brett French up with a big tackle. Now Jarvis. Again, Canescu in there to make the tackle. He was in doubt right up until the start of this match pretty well, Canescu, with food poisoning. Now Roy Simmons. Working his way towards the halfway mark. Steve Mortimer. Kenny. Short ball for Gary Jack. Caught around the ankles by Dowling. Now Steve Mortimer again. Kicking to the open spaces. Colin Scott is there for it. Takes it just on his own corner line. Out of 2. Straightening and getting through another one. Colin Scott's got support too from Canescu. Some pretty ordinary defence then from the Blues. They lead 4 points to 0. Canescu down slowly to his feet. Now Dave Brown. Just short of the halfway mark. Only cheering from the Queensland side, claiming New South Wales offside as Phelan floated. Disappointed Roberts didn't pull it up. The Queensland backs are going to go. Linda running wide with it. Now a pass for Posted. Dancing around Conlon, Dolly. Slipping a pass to Lewis. On to Linda again. for the ball and just able to take it on his own line. Oh, danger for New South Wales. This is Mortimer. Steve Mortimer. 6 metres out from his own line. Kenny.
That last play, Roberts had looked pretty good. They were offside New South Wales, but he let Queensland run the ball, and they run it 60 or 70 metres upfield. So the advantage was there.
Well, Ross Henry came chasing the kicker, and he was injured, but they've caught the fullback Scott. He's able to get it to Rebo. Rebo trying to get away from Morris. Meninga's got the football down the touchline. Johnson across in cover. Mortimer across in cover, and Mortimer's got him. Beautiful tackle from Steve Mortimer. Oh, great football here at Lang Park. Strong running from Mal Meninga and beautiful cover defence from Steve Mortimer. Caught him just 10 metres short of the line.
Well, he beat Chris Mortimer for pace on that occasion. But if he had a backup player there was a try on.
Mortimer to work the scrum. Penalty's gone to Queensland. That's against Mortimer, putting it in the second row. Well, here's the replay, and certainly under the prop's foot. They've taken a tap kick, Queensland. Here's Meninga. Meninga out of one. Meninga for the line. Got a pass back to Hendrick, and Hendrick scores. No try. No try. Referee Roberts has ruled a forward pass. Well, listen to the boos. Well, that looked a certain try, but referee Roberts on the spot ruled that pass to Henrick from Meninga was forward, so it's scrum. Not deliberately offside, just a forward pass.
Well, they're packing down without Kinescu. He doesn't look too healthy to me.
Yeah, Kinescu holding that injured knee. As I've mentioned before, he was in doubt with food poisoning right through last night and most of today. Trainer working on him. Now, New South Wales with the ball via Steve Roach. Here's Royce Simmons getting driven back. Good tackle. Fullerton Smith. Just short of the quarter line. Jarvis has given it back. Chris Mortimer's kick down for Colin Scott. On the halfway mark, he's got Bowie with him, doesn't need him, he's gone straight through Scott to the quarter line. Now he's finally put down. Oh, desperation tackle from Chris Mortimer.
There's going to be a penalty here on Boasted. One of the New South Wales players stopped him in his backup run.
Well, Colin Scott has shown plenty of dash tonight. That's twice he's opened up New South Wales with some good runs. It's an incident again for you. Conlon backpedaling. Queensland with a penalty. Lewis. Henrick. Dave Brown. Dave Brown almost through again. Tackled by Noel Cleal. This is Fullerton Smith. Making valuable yardage inside the 22. Lewis out wide. Flicks a long ball out from Meninga. Good ball up for Boasted. Boasted! Dancing on his toes. There it again. Queensland. No doubt about this time. Oh, great try from the Queenslanders. Why, gee, that was good football. Lewis just kept spreading it out. They came through. Made sure of that one. Bobby Lindner, the player that we were talking about. Watch this. Lewis with a cutout pass to Meninga. Goes out to Boasted. Boasted steps back inside. Lindner was there to take the ball. And over in the corner. And this is the fellow that Arthur Beetson says will go all the way. Jack Gibson.
Well, Lindner stood up Jack on that occasion, but he shouldn't have got as far as he did. But he missed him cold.
That's the action now at Lang Park. We'll be back in just a few moments' time. This is the kick from Mal Meninga from the sideline. He hasn't been kicking well, but it bounced off the upright and gets the 2 points. Scoreline, Queensland 6, New South Wales 4. Back line now to Lane Park, penalty to Queensland. Wally Lewis, well, Arthur Beetson has been raving about Bob Lindner all week up here. In fact, all season. Right a ball player. Queensland now taking play just inside New South Wales territory. That kick of Meninga's will certainly give him the confidence that he's needed. This is Chris Phelan. Win underneath. Cleal over the top. Fullerton Smith at dummy half. Runs from there. Plenty of ground to be made. He's lost the ball. Picked up by Mortimer. Mortimer still going. Nice run from Mortimer. Ball getting pretty slippery. Not raining at the moment, but conditions pretty boggy. Chris Walsh. Royce Simmons, dummy half. Roach, head down, but too much defence. That was some big tackle there from Dowling and Fullerton Smith. New South Wales deciding to run it through Jarvis. But look at this Queensland defence. A gang tackle, Jack, as you call it.
No, the Queensland defence is pretty well impregnable going straight up there. They've certainly playing it real strongly.
But you know, it's a good kick from Steve Mortimer. He's just picked up another 30 metres. This fellow's kicking game is superb, and the form's on, and he's kicked well tonight.
Scrum down just inside the Queensland quarter. It's a New South Wales ball. Steve Morris diving on it. First time that Morris has played for New South Wales on the wing. Certainly played there at halfback. Here's Kenny. Now Johnston. A little knock on there from Johnston. That didn't go undetected from referee Roberts. There it is. Just a little one, but that's all you need.
Well, it was just a poor pass. In a bad situation, they win a tough scrum and they get one play out of it.
So it's Ross Henrik who's working the scrum for Queensland. In fact, Henrik was the first halfback to represent Queensland in a State of Origin game back in 1981. Since that time, Mark Murray's been the halfback. He's out injured tonight. Now Lindner, the try scorer, playing it for Henrik. Now Lewis, back inside for Phelan. Peter Wynn and Noel Cleal, the tacklers. Again, a dummy half, Henrik. This time to Dowling. 10 metres short of the halfway. Queensland 6 leading New South Wales 4. Henrik's kick. Jack is back there to cover on his own corner line. Caught by Lewis and slammed to the ground by Lewis. Big hit, Jack.
Oh, he got him with a good shot then, but when Queensland kick, Queensland chase. When New South Wales kick, they don't chase that strong.
Well, there's the kick from Mortimer. He's the only chaser, and he's got it too. Looks for support. Found Jarvis, probably the slowest bloke in the team. Jarvis now. Inside pass has gone to ground. Chris Mortimer.
Well, Jarvis on that occasion double pumped his receiver. The only one he fell was the boy who was supposed to catch the ball, and he coughed it up.
So the scrum down 10 metres inside Queensland territory. Again, Henrik, or as they call him up here, the Ant. I guess because he's so close to the ground. And then a little knock on from Henrik. So this time the scrum goes down with the New South Wales feed. And Mortimer feeds. One against the feed too. It's a good win from Konescu that time. Lewis has got it. And Lewis slammed to the ground. Peter Wynn. Penalty to Queensland against Wynn. Well, you have a look for yourself. There is the tackle. Lewis was standing there. Wynn over the top. Holding him down right there.
Well, that was a juvenile penalty from Peter. He's that's not part of his game, but he gave him 6 tackles and a 30-yard kick, so it's a big penalty.
Well, the free kick taken by Lewis. 35 metres out. Here's the Ant, Ross Henrik. High tackle by Kenny, got under it. Bullitt and Smith. 32 metres out from the New South Wales line. Queensland leads 6 points to 4. Here's Meninga. Put down by Roach. Rebo dummy half. Lewis, a switch of play to Henrik. He's lost it. Picked up by Kenny for New South Wales. Possession changing very quickly in this game. Here's Wynn. Oh, a terrible pass to Johnson. Been picked up by Morris, and they've lost about 5 metres. Now it's Steve Mortimer. Steve Roach. Quickly put down. Queensland defence may have been a little lax early in the game. It's certainly tightened up now. Now Kenny. Chris Mortimer. Noel Cleal. Slipping it away to Jarvis. Now out to Johnston. Over the halfway mark. Last tackle signal for New South Wales. Johnston can't get up, being held down by Phelan. Referee said play on. And Mortimer's kick for the line is fielded nicely by John Rebo. And he's quickly caught by Steve Morris and Brian Johnston. Now Colin Scott across field. Now Dowling, he'll straighten it up. 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Queensland 6, New South Wales 4. Henrik, Lewis. Inside pass for Phelan.
Queensland now midway between the half and the quarter. They're into the ground. Nice pass from Hendricks there, but it's gone astray. Picked up by Linder, the try scorer for Queensland. New South Wales with a new innovation tonight too. The players' names are on the back of the jumpers. Jack, that's something you've talked about.
Well, it all helps if you're a spectator. But they must have had plenty of jumpers because there's been that over a dozen changes this week, hasn't it?
Good innovation and something new. Players' names on the back of the jumper, certainly helping the spectators. Bob Kellaway, we notice, is on the sideline as Wynn charges away from the base of that scrum. 15, Bob Kellaway warming up. We'll see who's going to come off. Jarvis takes it up. Canescu has been down twice and ill, but this is Roach. Canescu has gone off. He's been fighting food poisoning for the last 2 days and also a leg injury. Bob Kellaway is on, but here is Mortimer. Stab kick picked up by Wynn. He's picked up by Phelan. Simmons, dummy half. New South Wales close. This is Kenny on to Walsh. Strong run from Walsh. Big tackle from Dowling. Also Linder there to help. New South Wales just 10 metres out now. Here's the bomb from Mortimer. Well-placed kick. They pour through New South Wales. Ball loose. Oh, that's no try. Well, chancy moment there for Queensland. Good kick from Mortimer. Spot on.
It was a good backup from Mortimer too. He really tried to get to that ball.
Only Colin Scott that handballed it over, and that's dangerous stuff there. The drop kick from Queensland is a big one. Picked up by Chris Mortimer. That ground getting pretty slippery, that side of the ground too. It's the old grandstand side of Lang Park. Jarvis. Bobby Kellaway in 15 underneath. Phelan over the top. This is Wynn. Wynn, he's busted him once. Wynn. Awkward man to tackle, Jack Gibson. He runs with a very high action, doesn't he?
Well, he's got a good spin. He keeps his legs alive, so he's pumping there all the time. And if there's a chance of a bust, well...
They kept the ball alive, then he gave it back to Ross Hendrick for Queensland. So Queensland back in possession.
I don't think he's done that at training.
Queensland on the quarter line. Got it out to Linder. Plenty of dash, plenty of speed, and looks keen every time he gets the ball, this Bob Linder. Rebo. Lewis, switch of play. Phelan goes through 4 or 5 metres with Simmons and Jarvis, the tacklers. Just Kellaway. A kick from Meninga. And that'll No, it doesn't find the line. Scroll, it does find the line. Well, Gary Jack thought he had it covered. And it just skidded along the grass and found touch. Good kick from Mal Meninga. There it is. Stabbed at it. Drove it down the line. Now, Gary Jack thought he had this covered. Watch this. Awkward bounce.
He just tried to take out too much insurance on that play here to get that ball early and just get this somewhere.
Big Dowling has gone in from the front row. He's hooking now. There he is. Greg Dowling is the new hooker for Queensland, and he's picked up a penalty. Oh, and Kevin Roberts laying down the law too, and Fullerton Smith having a bit to say. 2 straight penalties out of the scrums have gone to Queensland. Posted. That's how close they are to the line. That's the corner post and the try line right in front of them. Lewis, Meninga throws the dummy, unloads now, gets it on to Dave Brown. He's wrapped up by Wynn. 12 metres out from the New South Wales line. Hendricks out to Lewis. Lewis with another long floating post, but this time it just floats over the touchline. It was this sort of pass that beat Canterbury when he was part of the Brisbane side on Wednesday night last.
Well, I think Queensland are going to get a penalty here. I think there's a little interference after he passed the ball, probably on Lewis.
Touch judge is in now. Roach being spoken to for New South Wales. A few welts under the eyes too, Roach already. The scrum packing down just inside the 22. New South Wales into the ground. New South Wales to feed. And they win the ball. Mortimer wrapped up by Fullerton Smith.
Well, we're 10 minutes out from the half-time break and New South Wales in possession. Steve Morris caught on his own quarter line. 6-4 Queensland lead. Here's Jarvis. Simmons switching the point of attack with a pass to Cleal.
I think they've got to put their big runners such as Cleal and Jarvis out a little wide because their forward defence, Queensland, is very, very strong and they're not making much headway in there.
This is Chris Walsh. Last tackle for New South Wales. It's Jack who's kicking, but it's way over Revo's head and out on the full. So the scrum will go down where Jack kicked that ball, and that's about 10 metres inside the New South Wales territory. Queensland get the loose head in the feed. And that's a scrum win to New South Wales against the feed, so that's a good win. Here's Peter Wynn. Getting pushed across field. Linder and Phelan, the principal tacklers. Johnson got that pass back to Jarvis. Now it's with Steve Mortimer. Kenny, Cleal. Trying to hit and turn, and he's passed it all right, but straight off a Queensland player, picked up by Meninga. No, Frank's got plenty of worries.
Yeah, well, that pass won so many season tickets. He was wrapped up there and just gave it straight back to Queensland.
Now Meninga. Lewis. Back to Meninga. On to Colin Scott. Pass may have been forward. It's allowed to continue. Henrik has it. Just inside New South Wales territory. Meninga is dummy half. It's back for Phelan. Looked like it may have been a Shepherd too. He certainly ran behind one of the Queensland players. Back with Henrik. Now with Lewis. Still able to slip the pass to Rebo. Good run from the John Rebo. Last tackle for Queensland. He's cribbed a couple of metres too. It's gone to Henrik. Kick in the air, plenty of chasers. Gary Jack's there for it. Takes it nicely without a lot of pressure though. And put down just inside his own quarter line. Ross Conlon making no progress. Royce Simmons. The Roach playing it. 32 metres out from the New South Wales line. Steve Mortimer to Walsh. Peter Wynn. Inside for Jarvis. Picked up by Walsh. Cleal out of one. Way to Jack. He's to the halfway mark now. Funny sort of football, Jack. He's just sort of cribbing their way along.
Well, they done pretty well on that play. They retained possession for the 5 plays, so that's a plus for them. That kick was pretty scratchy.
Yeah, Peter won't be all that happy with that. He's given the football earlier to one of the Queensland players, now kicked way out on the full. So this scrum down just 5 metres short of the halfway mark in Queensland territory. 6-4, Queensland leading New South Wales with just 6 minutes to half-time. Henrik working the scrum. Penalty New South Wales, and it's against Henrik. Scrum's been a little untidy.
Well, nothing was going to happen. Whoever won that ball, they were both standing up flat with their lock, both sides. So neither New South Wales or Queensland had any faith in their hooker to get that ball, to win that ball from a scrum situation.
It would be wrong of me, Jack, if I didn't take the opportunity of congratulating you on appointment as Cronulla coach next year. Good luck.
Thank you.
Is that all you're going to say?
Well, I just hope we can get the job done. What I'm going to get paid for.
Good on you. Now, New South Wales on the Queensland quarter. Time ticking by, half-time not that far away. Cleal has it. Oh, they pushed back a metre, still able to get the pass away, but referee had called held. So he's putting a scrum down.
Scoreline reads 6-4, Queensland leading. New South Wales 5 minutes out from half-time, and this penalty has gone to New South Wales. The crowd's starting to get a little irritated with Mr. Roberts, but he's had pretty strict control of this game so far.
Well, he hasn't done much wrong. He certainly gets aggressive when he blows that whistle for a penalty.
New South Wales now inside the 22, just 10 metres out. But they've given possession up. They've coughed the ball up to Queensland. Boasted coming away with it, plays it back to Dowling. Dowling just goes straight and hard, the only way he knows to go, this fellow. Big year for him. Now the runners pour through. Bob Kellaway, dummy half. Runs from there. Oh, loses possession too. Chance for New South Wales as Wynn dives on it. General play, it's been interesting. New South Wales have kicked the ball 15 times to Queensland 6, with Steve Mortimer doing the majority of the kicking. This is his brother playing the ball now. 4 minutes out from half-time. Morris, slippery Morris. Conditions not really suited to his style of play tonight, but he's certainly making every chance that he gets a winner as Wynn tries to unload, and he's only 5 metres out. Can New South Wales put a try on the board before half-time? Brett Kenny, a dummy half, gets it out to Mortimer. Good pass this time out to Simmons, but he's wrapped up quickly. Bullet to Smith. Fifth tackle for New South Wales. Mortimer will put it in the air. He does so. There's the bomb. Through they come from McCollum. Scott flies high. Aussie rule style. Beautiful take. YG took that well. Went up high over the pack. See it again. Took it cleanly. Lewis, well, he and Lewis took it. Wally Lewis a little injured and slow to get up there, holding the knee. Heavily taped, 3 minutes out to half-time. Queensland now with the football. Dead set in front of the posts, about 15 metres out from their line. Phelan. Taken by Roach. Jarvis underneath. Dowling at dummy half. Lewis. Meninga there. Meninga overran him on that occasion, though. Lewis back from Meninga. Clearing kick. Gary Jack well positioned and takes it. And brings the ball back to the halfway line for New South Wales. Oh, and put down with a big tackle there. Oh, Meninga and Brett French just picked him up and dumped him. This is Conlon. New South Wales with a bit of room to move. Johnson with a nice ball away to Conlon. Conlon turns it back inside to Kenny. Kenny wrapped up though. Play almost to the 22. Kevin Roberts telling Queensland to get back to 5. Mortimer Mortimer sees a little gap. Mortimer puts on the pace and learns the ball. Chance for New South Wales, and Johnston's in. Wait for it, and that's a try. Brian Johnston in for New South Wales. Oh, some good football from the Blues. Some good football for Steve Mortimer. Saw the gap, kept it alive. Look at this run around here, Jack.
Mortimer's try. He done the big play.
Mortimer
got that ball away.
Got it out to Kenny. Kenny turned it back inside the Johnson. And Colin Scott was there, but Johnson skidded over.
He cuts in here and gets a release. It was a great pass.
Nice pass from Kenny then too. Johnson scoring. Johnny Rebo being called out. There was some discussion after that try was scored. Kevin Roberts coming back. Lewis not looking very happy at all. Lewis was down injured at the time that try was scored too. There's the angle for you, the junction of the 22 and the touchline. Ross Conlon. Important kick. He'd like to get this 8-6 they lead at the moment, New South Wales. Crowd are giving plenty from the grandstand. Look at Wally Lewis looking at it. Listen to the Queensland crowd. In the air, waved away. Scoreline remains New South Wales leading Queensland 8 points to 6. There's the half-time hooter now, so a handy lead of only 2 points though for New South Wales, but it'll be the first time in the series they've gone in leaders. Let's have a look at the stats for you. The score, 8 points to 6, New South Wales favour. Penalties have gone 6-4 to Queensland. The scrums have gone 5-4 New South Wales way. We'll take a break, be back with Jack Gibson and Mike Gibson from Lang Park Live for you.
Back live at Lang Park for the second half, the State of Origin match with New South Wales leading Queensland by 8 points to 6. And here they come to the predictable boos from the crowd. The New South Wales team, a patched up operation tonight, doing us proud. Time in possession in that first half. Queensland 18.20 minutes. New South Wales held the ball just a little bit longer, 21.4 minutes. Yardage, Queensland again behind New South Wales, 48 metres. New South Wales 60 metres in attack. And now the tackle count. Big Greg Dowling 16 tackles, Chris Phelan 16, and Wally Fullerton-Smith 13 for the Queenslanders. For New South Wales, Roach 14, Walsh 13, Jarvis 11. Back to Darryl Eastlake.
Thank you, Michael. Recommencement of players. Peter Wynn brings it up for New South Wales to the 22. Simmons onto Jarvis. Penalty straight away to Queensland. New South Wales raking at the ball.
I can't go along with that penalty. The boy never had a chance to play it. The penalty went the wrong way. I think he just got excited, Roberts.
Meninga will have the shot for goal, and it's dead set in front. As I've said earlier, there's very little wind to speak of tonight, so he really only has to get it in the air and straight.
Well, he had to shake off 2 bodies and still play the ball, isn't he?
We've said it's 1924 was the last time that Queensland had won a clean sweep in the series, and that was the best run of 8 victories that Queensland had strung together. That's 60 years tonight. This kick is about 26 metres out and probably about 15 metres off centre. Meninga. Chance to level the scores. Ball's in the air. He certainly got the distance, but waved away. So score remains New South Wales leading Queensland 8 points to 6. Arthur Beetson would have something to say inside and under the cap. Steve Mortimer giving plenty of directions out there. A drop kick from Noel Cleal from the 22. Taken by Bob Lindner. Scored a try in the first half for Queensland. Runs into a blue wall. Roach and also Chris Walsh. Walsh has gone well tonight, Jack.
He's worked strong. He's worked strong.
Bobby Lindner
he's gone
very
up in
keen.
every play.
Bobby Lindner very keen to get onto the ball. Loose pass from Queensland. Cleaned up though. Queensland now inside their own half with a bit of room to move. Brett French. There's not much of this Brett French, but he's pretty fast.
See, they went back line there and they lost 15, 20 yards on that play, Queensland. And they've surrendered some more, so they're back 30 yards away from their own goal line, 30 metres.
Wally Lewis comes back through Dowling. Hendricks put his boot to the ball. That's a good kick too. He's found open spaces. Gary Jack well positioned. He'll bring it back for New South Wales. Tries to step Jack, but they come up and chase that ball. Mortimer.
Jack's not getting a great backup from his wingers. His wingers just stand there and letting Jack cart the ball up to him instead of getting back and trying to take some defence off him.
Chris Johnston scored just prior to half-time for New South Wales. Plays it back to Wynn. Out for Mortimer. On to Kenny. Here's Gary Jack up in the back line. Gary Jack is busted him too. Got a bit of support. That was Jarvis. Slipped the ball through to Mortimer. Mortimer unloads. Mortimer. There's another quick pass. And they're still kicking live, but it's gone astray. A better play from New South Wales, but Queensland come up with the ball through Colin Scott.
Well, the easiest pass went to ground on that occasion.
Well, he had players to burn and support. They were waiting for it. The wrap went to the right, and it was there, but Queensland have the chance now, but they're standing still, Queensland. Unloaded through with Dave Brown, who quickly dived on by Walsh. New South Wales just outside the 22. Mortimer with a pass out to Brett Kenny. Kenny steps back inside, looks to unload, but can't. Mortimer flicks the ball up for Roach. And they're inside the 22 now of Queensland. Royce Simmons, vice-captain tonight. Dummy half at the moment. Gets it on to Cleal. Cleal winds up. No support there that time, though. Simmons, Mortimer. Mortimer very involved tonight. This is Walsh. Dowling over the top. Fulton Smith underneath.
Well, they're going to a kicking situation here.
There's the kick. Right, spot on. Loose ball, too. And that's a try. Yes, that's a try. Noel Cleal has scored. Watch it again. It was Cleal that kicked the ball too. He put it up high, and it was a beautifully placed kick. Came down right under the crossbar. Look at that. Put down by Queensland, dived on by Cleal. And that's another 4 points to the Blues.
Well, he kicked the ball, Cleal, but at start he didn't look like he's going to chase, and as an afterthought he put on some speed and he's made 6 points out of it.
New South Wales now racing away to a good lead, 12 points to 6 over Queensland. We'll be back live at Lang Park in just a few moments.
We'll give you back to Lang Park with the news that Ross Conlon converted that try. New South Wales increased the lead 14-6, and making another bust is Brian Johnson. Now the right-hand flank, the Blues putting their act together. 20 metres out from the Queensland line. New South Wales now with Brett Kenny in possession. A pass to Wynn. Wynn, so close to the line. Last tackle now for New South Wales. Will we see another kick? Noel Cleal kicked for the first time before. Wynn's played it forward and lost it. Well, that was a bit of an anticlimax, Jack.
Well, I think it's a pretty smart move on Wynn's part, because they were going to get to Mortimer before he had a chance to kick that ball, and he was going to be first receiver. Now New South Wales got another 6 players in front of them.
Well, here's another look at that action. And, well, he thought he saw a way through there. The kick wasn't the best, though, off the side of the boot. Queensland very quickly falling on it. Now we're back with Gary Jack from that goal line drop out. And Jack is pulled down just outside the Queensland quarter. New South Wales playing with a lot of confidence. They got another penalty this time. Roberts has got Ross Hendrick for not getting off the tackle player. And Conlon has elected to have another shot at goal. Here's the replay. Watch it with us. He was held, and that's Hendrick holding him down. You can't see the hand that's holding him down, but believe me, it was there.
Well, he reenacted enough to get the penalty, but he'd certainly got held down for a little time. But he wasn't trying to get to his feet. He was just jumping around, and he got the right result.
Well, he's only missed the one, Conlon. This actual kick is about 15 metres in from touch. Wally Lewis watching anxiously as Conlon moves in for the kick. Looking good from here, and it's there. Great kick from Conlon. So New South Wales now 16, leading Queensland 6. Oh, Arthur. Not very happy with the situation. Who would be? A quick kick-off from Queensland, taken by Gary Jack in the in-goal area. Well, this is the first time this series Queensland have been in this situation, and look at New South Wales spinning the ball wide. Steve Morris now in possession just outside his own quarter. Jarvis. Caught by Dowling and Fullerton Smith. Now Big Roach. That time it was Linda and Kellaway, the tacklers. Simmons has lost it behind him. Queensland have fallen on it. Kellaway fell on the loose ball. 6 tackles restarted now as New South Wales touched it again. It's with Lewis. Now Meninga. The Lang Park crowd starting to get a little anxious as their side trail by 10. Here's Phelan. .32 metres out from the New South Wales line. Henrik to Lewis. Picked up by Lewis, a mistake from Dowling, but Lewis recovered well. And has been pushed back a further 10 metres. Last tackle signal for Queensland. Henrik. Waiting for it is Morris. But it's out on the full, so the scrum back where it was kicked from. It's 16-6, New South Wales lead.
Ross Hendrick, a pretty good game for Queensland tonight. Hendrick, he's been busy. General play. Affected 16 tackles for the little man. The scrum packs between the half and the quarter. New South Wales into the ground. Well, Jack, look at that Queensland line. It's very, very straight, very hard as New South Wales get that penalty.
Well, they didn't expect to win the ball. But just going back to a few plays back, I don't think I've seen a better exhibition from fullback than these conditions than Jack. He's just gone at Gary Jack. He's gone up on every play, and he's a few of the busts that have been there. He's give the runner a release all the time. He's picked up yards continually.
Well, Mal Meninga took that very quick kick-off, and it was a hard take. He took it about a foot off the ground, and he took it well. Back live now to Lang Park, and New South Wales have the ball. This is Simmons looking for the runners in Jarvis. The defence of Queensland there in Kellaway in 15, the replacement for Konescu, but here's another break from little Mortimer. Gets it away to Chris Walsh. He's lost the ball. It's loose and Walsh is hurt. Walsh hurt himself then. Took a nice pass off Mortimer. He's still down, Walsh. Well, he hasn't moved. The penalty has gone to Queensland. New South Wales inside the 5. Let's see this action again. Here's Mortimer, makes this little bust, puts the ball up for Walsh. And Walsh took it, slipped. Well, he's fallen on the ball and on a knee there. But this penalty now has gone to New South Wales, and this crowd's starting to get pretty aggravated with Mr. Roberts. Walsh getting up, just winded, I would think. Mortimer saying we want to have a shot for goal. Here's Meninga. Watch for this penalty. There was the pass that went out to Bowstead. It was a Shepherd then. And that was why the penalty went on. That's Shepherd. And the crowd, well, they're telling you what they think. No place in the world to watch rugby league than Lang Park. Certainly has its own character. So is Ross Collin as a kicker. He's kicked well tonight. 16-6 New South Wales. A chance to put 2 more on the board. Almost a similar angle from the last one he was successful with. This crowd won't faze him. Ball's in the air. Plenty of direction. Flags are up. New South Wales go away now further. 18 points to 6 over Queensland. Arthur Beetson. A little shell-shocked at the moment, I would think. New South Wales happy and smiling for the first time in a long, long time in the State of Origin series. Kick-off again from Queensland. Ross Conlon has kicked well and run well tonight. Might not be the fastest winger in the world, but certainly pretty steady. Pat Jarvis, the St George player, a dummy half. Runs from there, makes a few cheap yards too. Conlon dummy half, out to Simmons. Simmons winds up. 6 to go, the referee indicates touch by Queensland. Pat Jarvis runs from dummy half over the halfway line now, Jarvis. New South Wales have made some good territory there and just replayed the ball, Jack.
Well, they're using up all their tackle plays, and they've had all the possession this half, New South Wales. Queensland have had it just for a minute or two.
Mortimer's played well tonight, Mortimer. Leaked well, passed well. Oh, nice pass from Jack off the ground then. This is Johnston from St George. Scored a try tonight. Little stab kick from Mortimer. Comes off Henrik. Let's see who comes up with the ball. It's a Queensland football. It's Brett French. The referee says no, we'll have a scrum. And this scrum will pack right between the half and the quarter. Queensland's head of the ground. Bulletin Smith hooking this time, so Queensland pack experimenting since Konescu has gone off. Morris very fast off the mark. Had a great year for St George this year, Morris. Simmons winding up. Simmons making good ground. Look at Dowling driving him back, but New South Wales keep it alive. Oh, some big defence then from Queensland. Jarvis will play it, feeling the tackler. Out to Wynn. Wynn's caused a few headaches for the Queenslanders tonight. Back to Morris. Morris darting, dancing. Too much defence. Kellaway underneath. Fullerton Smith over the top. Here's Noel Cleal now. Winds up the big man. Still going. Got support too, but can't unload. Now he does. Off the ground. And that'll be a penalty to Queensland. Just held that ball a little too long. See it again. Made a little bust. Looked to unload. Referee Roberts had said he'd been fairly held. Penalty went to Queensland.
Now, the first thing Queensland have got to do is hold that ball for 6 players. They've got to get used to holding the ball.
Well, let's see what they can do with it. This is Bowstead. Just outside his own quarter. Now Henrik, Fullerton Smith, caught by Wynn. Now Dave Brown, he spilled it. You read it right again, Jack. 3 tackles and they put it down.
Well, that catch-up elements come into the game, and that's not going to help them get there. They've got to get down this end of the paddock. So
this scrum just outside, almost on, in fact, the Queensland quarter line. Worked by Mortimer. It's gone with the feed. Wind's running off him. So New South Wales launch yet another raid. Kenny, Jarvis. Put down by Linda. Now back for Simmons. Play just inside the Queensland quarter. New South Wales lead 18 points to 6. Steve Mortimer. Away to Cleo. Cleo out of one to the 10-metre mark. Now, Simmons switching it to the right to win. Back inside for Kenny.
Well, see, they're 12 in front, New South Wales. If they can put 1 point on here, that's going to they'll put the game out of reach.
Well, you saw the bomb and you saw how calmly Wally Lewis took it. He's played it forward. Look at the yards he's making now. Almost back to the quarter line, Lewis. Been fairly quiet. I've suspected that he's not 100% fit. But when he goes, he really goes. Now he's feeling. So Queensland just outside their own quarter line. With 22 minutes of play remaining. It's 18 to 6, New South Wales lead. Henrik to Maminga. Cutting out two with a pass to Bostand. Bowie almost through. Lost his shoe in the play. Back to Henrik. Now to Dave Brown, out of one. Dave Brown in the clear to the halfway mark, but Mortimer, the big man and the little man clash. And the penalty has gone to New South Wales, I believe, and Dave Brown's been given the sin bin. 10 minutes in the sin bin for using an elbow. Well, it was Steve Mortimer who came across in cover. Watch this. There's the elbow up in defence on the little man. And 10 minutes in the sin bin to Dave Brown.
Well, he certainly shot it. And he's got 10 minutes for it.
Well, Steve Mortimer now has pulled off a couple of great tackles. Try-saving tackles. I don't know whether that was a try-saving tackle, but it was certainly one of the big tackles of the game. Because Dave Brown is about twice his size. Now, Steve Roach. 32 metres out. Wally Lewis trying to rally his troops. Now it's back with Jarvis and a big hit by Dowling. Some rugged stuff out there now. Simmons dummy half. Steve Mortimer back to Simmons. Inside for Chris Walsh. Walsh has got a pass away, but Kenny's gone without it. Picked up by Meninga. Now Brett French. Play just outside the Queensland quarter.
Well, is their opportunity again to hold it up for 6 and see if they can do something.
Fullerton Smith. Queensland a man short with Dave Brown in the sin bin for 10 minutes. Lindner back to Dowling. Straight up the middle, Dowling. Absorbs plenty of punishment and gives out plenty as well. This Dowling. Now he's Meninga. Trying to get through those two tackles and carrying one on his back. In fact, he's carried Jarvis on his back. The strength of this man. Lindner. Away to Henrik. Now Lewis. Gone astray. Wheel trying to kick it through. He couldn't manage it. Fallen on by Rebo. Knock on rule by referee Roberts. Steve Roach having a laugh. The crowd is far from laughing. Was there a knock on here? Well, I didn't see it.
Well, I missed a little of the play. But Roberts didn't think there thought there was.
Queensland have made 17 handling errors in this game, and it's something that they've been very, very disciplined on in the series, but not getting the act together tonight. Perhaps that cohesion of the side. I think they missed Gene Miles desperately. She straightened up the back play. But New South Wales with the ball. This is Jack. Gets it out to Johnson. And it's back to Brett Kenny. On to Wynn. Back to Kenny. Unloads again to Wynn. Wynn straightens up the attack. Oh, a big hit from Lewis. Just belts him back. Dowling underneath. Wynn's lost the ball. Lewis has come up with the football. This fellow, when he comes into the play, certainly gets involved. Rebo, the penalty there, has gone to Queensland. Oh, gee, it must be hard for a referee from New South Wales to come up here, Jack.
Yeah, just looking at that Rebo the time before, he must think Queensland in front because he's trying to hold the New South Wales players down, and that's what they got in their favour. They got the scoreline and the clock, and the longer they hold them down, it's not going to help his cause.
Queensland with a set move, and it's McDarling that makes the break, and the support's not there tonight for Queensland. Now they've got a bit of room to move. This is Lewis, gets it on to Meninga. Meninga gets a nice pass out for French, trying to unload French, but can't. Wrapped up. Mortimer was the tackler. Lewis, loose pass this time, cleaned up quickly though. Rebo, he unloads, gets it out to Phelan. This defence comes in with Roach underneath. Morris over the top. Play right on the halfway line. Queensland with the ball. With this defence from New South Wales getting pretty heavy now. Rebo dummy half. A run around. Here's Lewis. Turns it back inside for Meninga. They lose the ball. Lewis is there to clean it up. Back slam down this time. Throws one to Wally. Wasn't too happy about that. Threw one at Jarvis. Will be called out by the referee. Pat Jarvis being spoken to with Lewis. Dowling. Here's the incident again. Lewis picked up the ball. Jarvis came at him. Back slammed him. Wally didn't like it. Threw one back. Scrum feed by New South Wales, the New South Wales ball. Brett Kenny. Oh, there's a lot going on this defence now. Bit of roughing up. Look at Lewis having a bit to say with Meninga. Kenny will play it. Morris.
Well, if they lose their cool, they'll lose the game.
Tony Curry is on for Queensland, number 14. Dave Brown with 5 minutes left, and Curry on the sideline for Queensland. Jarvis, wrapped up hard by Mal Meninga. This is Roy Simmons. Goes back to Mortimer. Mortimer with a stab kick. Taken by Colin Scott, though. Right on the try line. Brings it back for Queensland. He's tackled by Noel Cleal. They're inside the 22. And going nowhere. This defence from New South Wales is hungry now, Jack.
Yeah, I'll tell you that little Roy Simmons, he's consistently won nearly every scrum. And he's come up with one mistake. He's just knocked that ball on once, but he's played great.
Rebo coughs it up, and New South Wales with the ball through Johnston. Morris. As Simmons, the man Jack was talking about. This is Wynn. The big game when he's out of one tackle. That was Meninga that wrapped him up too, and he bounced out of that. They come back and get him. Fullerton Smith. Also Curry is there. Simmons dummy half. Mortimer shows it for Walsh. Oh, Walsh put down hard too. There's plenty going on. Phelan the main tackler. They switch play. This time to Cleal. Cleal striving for the line. Held up by Curry though. Rebo in there to help. Simmons. Specialist from dummy half that close. Loves to run from there. Fifth tackle for New South Wales. Mortimer stabs, puts it in the air. Lewis back to cover. Doesn't take his hands off it. Well, he and Scott have done that a couple of times tonight. Gone up together for the ball. Queensland don't seem to be talking now. Lewis had it covered. Scott came in. I don't think Wally would have been too happy about that. Drop kick taken, though, by Queensland. Wynn knocks it back. Touch judge says it's okay as he brings it back. 26 metres out from the line. Walsh. New South Wales now right on the 22.
18-6, the Blues lead, and looking for more as Roach goes down just inside the Maroons quarter. Is Cleal. So close to the line, Noel Cleal. He's gone close on a number of occasions. Roy Simmons, dummy half. Spinning it with Kenny. Gone to Gary Jack, who spilled it. Fullerton Smith falling on it for Queensland. Now Dowling. This is Tony Curry. Scott. You'll see Tony Curry a little while later. They look like twins, believe me. Here's Linda. Now here's Lewis. He's gone without it. Picked up by Kenny. There's an overlap out here. Johnson's got it. Johnson for the line. Johnson's in for try number 2. Well, that's wrapped up the match, I reckon. 22-6. And Brian Johnson in. And that came from that mistake from Lewis, losing the ball. Kenny was able to pick it up. And the pass out to Johnson. Out of one tackle and out of the tackle by Curry. Over for the try. 22-6. New South Wales lead Queensland. New South Wales 22, Queensland 6, and that conversion attempt from Conlon was unsuccessful. New South Wales in possession on their own quarter line. This is Jarvis. Chris Mortimer putting it through for Colin Scott.
Well, I can't see Queensland accepting this 14-point deficit. And they're going to do something. All they're doing is spitting the ball out.
Well, Steve Mortimer on the bench now after leading his side admirably. A fine game. Well, Jack, I don't know whether they'll accept the 14-point or the 16-point advantage that they hold.
Well, look, Queensland are 6. I don't think they've held the ball. They've held the ball or had the ball for 6 minutes in this half.
Steve Morris is at half-back for New South Wales. Here's Lewis. Still able to stand and get it away to Tony Curry. Curry's beaten Jack. Tony Curry almost to the quarter line. Now the Maroons starting to come back with a vengeance. Here's Lewis again. The pass from Meninga. Meninga caught around the ankles though by Johnson. Good tackle. But they're inside the quarter. Dowling. 10 metres out of the New South Wales line. Now to Lewis. Back to Phelan. Caught by Morris. Now here's Lindner. Cross for Henrik, the bomb. Pressure here for Jack. Hit the upright. But Jack's taken it magnificently. Well, that kick shaved the upright. But Jack was as solid as a rock. Up he went high. Tucked it into his chest. With those two Queenslanders hanging off him. 22-6, New South Wales lead.
10 minutes remaining in the game now. Gary Jack showing a lot of courage there. Mick Potter is on for New South Wales in place of Mortimer, who went off, and we feel it's probably that asthma problem that Steve Mortimer has. He was heaving badly. It's very oppressive here. It's been so damp. As you see Curry make another bust. He's played well since he come on, Curry. But Mortimer has a lot of trouble breathing in these oppressive conditions. 15, that's Tunks on the sideline, so New South Wales keen to give everybody a run. This is Lewis inside. Plenty of runners doing Dave Brown. Brought down about 8 metres out from the line, and the Blues in trouble. Queensland coming hard. Look at Lewis. Here's a big pass. Going to Boasted. Boasted scored, and Queensland put some points on the board, and that'll make Arthur Beecham happy. Look at the crowd. Oh, yeah. Boasted took a great pass off Lewis and went in for another great try. See it again. Look at Lewis, sets it up. Sees Bowie was unmarked, got around Conlon and went over the line, and Queensland back in it.
Well, Lewis done the job here and getting the ball to Boasted, but Boasted could have cut in field another 6-7 metres. He must have a lot of more faith in Meninga than I got.
Certainly has. Oh, geez, a great finisher, this fellow. Give him a chance and he's in. Look at New South Wales. Laying the law down now. Scoreline 22-10 with a kick to come. Meninga now. Chris Walsh has gone off and he's had a great game too. Frank Stanton will be very happy with his performance. Now Meninga. This kick very important. Stabs at it and he gets it. And a great kick from Meninga. Scoreline now 22 points to 12. New South Wales leading Queensland. Watch the kick. Meninga has been off direction for most of the season, but made sure of that one. Right over the high diddle-diddle. Goal, says the scoreline. 22-12 now. Queensland coming back to this game. Conlon will restart for New South Wales. Peter Tunks is on. 7.5 minutes left. Can they come back all the way? This is Curry. Boy, gee, showed some spark this Curry since he come on, Jack Gibson.
No, he's advanced strong. He's off again.
Great story about this Curry too. His real name is Kennedy, but there was another player in a side that he was in by the same name, so he changed it to an old footballing name up here of Curry. So that's Kennedy, now known as Curry.
He's very keen.
Oh, Jack, that's an awful joke. Dave Brown will play it back to Mal Meninga. Jack Gibson, commentator, sometimes comedian. Queensland lose the ball though. Fallen on very quickly by Roach. This is Peter Tunks. Dowling and Lynn are the tacklers. Royce Simmons. The Blues can smell victory, but the Maroons won't give it away. Don't worry about that. Jarvis played well. Gets a pass back. This time to win. He's played well. On to Noel Cleal. Cleal slips a pass to Conlon. Back to Jarvis. Jarvis is everywhere. Gets it on to Tunks. Can't unload though, but they've taken play down to the 22. Queensland's into the ground. Jarvis dummy half. Morris puts a kick up, goes virtually up in the air and almost comes down on the 22 where he kicked it from. It's loose. Scrambling. Lewis has got it, and they've got Lewis. Morris followed the kick through. Good play. He's had a good game, Steve Morris. Don't worry about that. Tony Scott. Wrapped up by Brett Kenny. Plays it back to French. Oh, they've lost the ball again, and New South Wales in possession. And they're only 5 metres out. Jarvis unloads to Wynn. Wynn gets a ball out for Roach. Roach puts one up in the air. Dave Brown will come up with it, though. Pretty close. Just in the field of play. Queensland in heaps of trouble now as Fullerton Smith belts his way 2 metres.
Well, they're looking at about 90 metres of tough ground, and New South Wales defence is working hard.
Jack,
I doubt if they can get there.
Look at that pass from Lewis on to Meninga. Meninga. There's a forward pass. That was, oh, gee whiz, it was a long one. The crowd are not happy with that. Boasted coming back, but Kevin Roberts said the pass was forward. Very difficult from our angle. There it is. I'll leave that to you. This is the pass there. Well, certainly wasn't clear on that replay at all, but anyway, Kevin Roberts a lot closer than we are. Play at the moment just 5 metres out from the New South Wales line. Ian Maurice.
4.5 minutes of play remaining. The scrum is 5 metres out from the Queensland line, and Morris has it, but the referee ruling a knock on. So Henrik has the feed for Queensland. That's gone with the feed. So the Ant, Ross Henrik, 5 metres from the line. Tony Curry. Rebo. Creeping towards that quarter line. Now with Lewis. And offloading nicely to Dave Brown. Brown caught 32 metres out from the Queensland line. 22-12. Queensland lead with just under 4 minutes left. Now here's Gary Jack. Cross field. Straightening now and caught. Ooh, a hefty tackle. Did I say Queensland led 22-12? Well, I'm in Brisbane. It's New South Wales leading.
That was last week.
Last week. Here's Morris. Morris beautifully away to Johnson. A quick pass back inside. It's gone away to Potter. And Potter's in, but the try, no, not disallowed. Well, referee Roberts has ruled another pass gone forward. Watch it with us. Here was the initial break from Morris. That pass to Johnson was good for sure. That pass looked good. That pass there ruled forward. So the scrum down and scrum won by Queensland. And French is put down on the 10-metre mark. Now Dowling. Caught by Tunks. 2.5 minutes left. Fullerton Smith over the quarter line. 22-12. The Blues lead. A little knock on there. And so another scrum. Well, the changes in the Queensland side, Jack, certainly seem to have unsettled their cohesion.
Well, maybe that's done it. But the big players, they haven't given themselves a chance to settle into anything. They try to stack a try on every second play, and they haven't had any possession, and it's their own fault.
Conversely, of course, the changes in the New South Wales side have worked.
Well, I don't think they've worked out 6 tackles in the second half on any occasion.
So it's Chris Phelan playing it. Getting towards the halfway mark. 22-12. The Blues in front. Here's Lewis. Queensland starting to punch up. Here's Henry making a bust now, though. Henry's looking for support as he's caught beautifully by Gary Jack. Across to Brown. Dowling, Lewis, Phelan, lost it. Dived on by the New South Wales centre, Chris Mortimer. Now Jarvis is content to take it up.
Well, Chris Mortimer's done nothing to be ashamed of. His defence and execution has been very good.
Peter Tunks. Now Tunks playing it. Now here's Noel Cleal. He's had a strong game too. On the halfway mark, Cleal caught by Dowling and Brown. Simmons, nothing fancy now. He's playing out time. And there's 30 seconds left.
That was pretty fancy. Got a great ball away.
Yet another knock on, and Kenny the offender. So they're settling for what should be the last scrum of the match, and already the natives are on the fence poised to invade the arena as the countdown begins. 5 seconds remaining. Queensland with the scrum. Lewis will kick and put it deep downfield. Everybody's on the field. The kids are invading, the siren sounding. And they've grounded the ball over the line, and look at the kids and the celebrations, the congratulations from captain and coach as New South Wales are victorious over Queensland, 22 points to 12. There are the statistics. Penalties just favouring Queensland, scrums just favouring New South Wales. And in there somewhere are all the players being congratulated by the kids. So Queensland wrap up the series with a 2-1 scoreline. And this has been a much improved performance from New South Wales as they come in from the field. There's Meninga. New South Wales boys all smiles. Why wouldn't they be smiling? Played very strongly.